Good evening. I love the English language. I think it's a beautiful, vibrant language when spoken correctly. Unfortunately, I hear a lot of mistakes. Now, a few years ago, I made a career change. I became an English teacher. I get paid for correcting people's grammar, which is something I used to do just for fun. So let's talk about some of these mistakes I hear. Some of them are very common. I hear them all the time. And you don't have to make these mistakes, because I'm not only going to tell you what some of these common mistakes are, I'm going to give you tips so that you don't make them. So the three I'm going to talk about tonight are lay versus lie, who versus who, and then a little more lengthy one, him versus he, her versus she, and I versus me. So let's get started with lay versus lie. Now, I hear people say to their dogs, lay down. Or if, God forbid, you're ever in a hospital, a nurse may tell you to lay in bed. Both of these are wrong. Now, you don't want to correct these people. You don't say to a dog owner, hey, you just told your dog to lay down. It really should be lie down. Because, that could be an attack dog. The owner has to just make one little command and, you're dead meat. Same thing in a hospital. If a nurse tells you to lay in bed, just listen to her. She's got your life in her hands. Do what she says. But you're not going to make the mistake, right? Because I'm going to give you some tips. Let's think about a hen. A hen lays an egg. I think we all know that. And there's a song, you can lay your head on my pillow. In both of these cases, we're talking about an object. A hen lays an egg, or you lay your head. Now, there's another example I can give you. The TV stations might say, this may not be suitable for younger or more sensitive viewers, but here goes anyway. You lay your significant other, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. So when we're talking about laying a thing or a person, it's lay. But if we're talking about going to bed, we lie in bed, we lie down. Now, is that so hard? I don't think so. So let's go on to who and whom. Now, just do a little searching on the internet, and you'll see there are a lot of discussions about this. And there are people who say that who is now acceptable in every situation. You don't have to use whom. And I want to know, this is acceptable to whom? So why did I say whom there? Well, the easiest way is to talk about my mythical friend Henry. Now, I can say it's acceptable to Henry, or it's acceptable to him. So therefore, it's acceptable to whom? Or I can say Henry accepts it, he accepts it. Who accepts it? So, if you haven't caught on by now, if I can substitute the word him, then I want to say whom. If I can substitute the word he, I want to say who. Him, whom. He, who. Now that's pretty simple, as long as you know the difference between he and him, which is the next thing we're going to talk about. So, again, I want to talk about my mythical friend Henry. We went out to dinner last night. Now, do I say Henry and I went out to dinner last night, or Henry and me went out to dinner last night? This is where the problem comes in. Most people know how to use the proper pronoun when they're talking about one person. But when you put two people in the sentence, that's when we get into trouble. So this is simple. You just have to remember a simple phrase. Divide and conquer. So let's divide the sentence into two sentences. Henry went out to dinner last night. Well, that's easy. I went out to dinner last night. I don't think anybody here thinks it's proper to say me went out to dinner last night. I went out to dinner last night. Now, when I put the two pieces back together, Henry and I went out to dinner last night. Isn't that simple? Now, if somebody asks me, have you seen Henry lately? I can say, yes, we went out to dinner last night. Or I could say, he and I went out to dinner last night. Or is it him and I went out to dinner last night? Well, what do we have to do? Divide and conquer. Him went out to dinner last night? I don't think so. He went out to dinner last night? Oh, that sounds much better. Okay, so he and I went out to dinner last night. Now, if we were talking about my friend Henrietta instead of Henry, do I say her went out to dinner last night or she went out to dinner last night? Simple. She went out to dinner last night. So she and I went out to dinner last night. But I want to go back to my friend Henry. We didn't go out for dinner alone. No, we went out with Larry. In fact, Larry invited us and Larry paid. So I want to say Larry took us out to dinner last night. Now, do I say Larry took Henry and me out to dinner or Larry took Henry and I out to dinner? Well, what do? Divide and conquer. Larry took Henry out to dinner. That part's easy. Did Larry take I out to dinner or did Larry take me out to dinner? I think we can agree Larry took me out to dinner. So Larry took Henry and me out to dinner. But what if I want to use a pronoun for Henry? Do I say Larry took him and me out to dinner or Larry took he and me out to dinner? Let's do what? Oh yeah, divide and conquer. Okay. Larry took him out to dinner. Larry took he out to dinner. Ooh, Larry took him out to dinner. Yeah. Okay, so Larry took him and me out to dinner. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, that's just wrong. I know it's Larry took he and I out to dinner because that's what I hear all the time and that's what sounds better. Well, yeah, it sounds better because it's what you're used to. When you're used to hearing something wrong all the time, you get used to it. You think it's right, that's what sounds good. And at first, the right way sounds wrong. But once you understand that Larry took him out to dinner, Larry took me out to dinner, and therefore Larry took him and me out to dinner, hearing it the other way will have a reaction like fingernails on a chalkboard. Now, for those of you too young to know what a chalkboard is and why fingernails on a chalkboard is bad, just ask your parents. They'll know. But getting back to Larry, let's say it was Henrietta instead of Henry. Again, do I say Larry took her out to dinner or Larry took she out to dinner? Obviously, Larry took her out to dinner. So Larry took her and me out to dinner. Wasn't that nice of him? Oh, he's so generous. Okay, so now I think we have it. We know when to say lay and lie. All we have to do is think about that hen or think about our significant other. We know when to say who or whom. Just remember him, whom. We just have to know when to say he and him. But now that we know how to divide and conquer, I think we know when to say he or him. So, just between you and me, you're going to do just fine.